Welcome to the Bridge of Two podcast. Well, welcome back to the Bridge of Two podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, welcome back. Welcome.
Welcome to the podcast where we bridge the sci-fi and fantasy realms we love into a nerdcast of epic proportions. I don't say that much anymore.
No, you don't.
But feels right today because we are recording this on New Year's Eve. So if you hear any fireworks crackling in the background, and because those could start going off at any moment.
I guess that's true. It is. It's
I actually heard some driving up here.
Is that what I'm hearing? I don't know why, but I live in a very nice part of town. But like, oh my gosh, someone's shooting someone. It's like I don't even live in the hood. Although if I hear that, I immediately think either that or someone has a really loud car that keeps backfiring. Yeah. But then I forgot. Oh yeah.
But yeah, there's fireworks.
Or New Year's
People
Eve.
do fireworks on New Year's Eve. So
who would have thought? Too bad I'll be asleep.
But yeah, it's kind of interesting because we're recording this on New Year's Eve, but you will be listening to it next year in 2022. So it's like we're in between time, like right now. Like we're in the past. Yeah, like we're in the past.
You're listening to Josh
your ears
and Jeremiah.
Your ears are in the future, but our voices are in the past.
You're listening to us from a year ago.
Yeah, we recorded this last year. If you're listening,
but
if anybody can hear me out there, I have been recording a podcast since last year. Please send help. Please send mead.
Speaking of mead, my wife got me the mead for Christmas.
Yes.
She got me a 4-pack of some of the Havoc mead, which is one of our podcasts. If you go back and listen, we drank.
Yes, we did.
And it has been a wonderful, wonderful gift.
Have you finished it all yet?
No, I still have 2 left. I want to go a little bit slower with it.
Yeah.
I had one on for Christmas dinner.
Yes, you did.
At our parents' house.
The Red Solo Cup.
Our in-laws' house at the Red Solo Cup. Well, I feel weird just drinking a mead in front of, like, Grandma and...
But you did it.
I did, but it was in the Red Solo Cup. Although I realized afterwards, like, if it got near any of them, it probably smelled really strong like mead.
That's what I was thinking the whole time. I was like...
It probably would have been better just to keep it in the can and be like, it's just a weird energy drink.
Yeah.
I don't think they cared. I only drank one. I did it for their benefit. I didn't want to be disrespectful in their house if they didn't like that. I'm sure they wouldn't have cared, but
right,
it is what it is. I can't go back in time now.
Or can you?
Whoa.
Dun dun dun. Anyway,
I cough afterwards.
I cough when I go back in time.
Whoa.
Oh. Before we start, let's just say... big spoiler warning for after our drink break. We will be discussing Spider-Man No Way Home. We saw it in theaters a couple days ago, and immediately we're like, we have to talk about this on the podcast.
Mm-hmm. And it will be pretty heavily spoilery because I don't think we could really talk about it without spoiling it. So if you have not seen it yet, go see it. It's really good.
Yes.
We'll say that without spoiling anything. It's really good.
If you have not seen it yet, then I'm going to pause right now so you can go see it.
We're going to pause?
Yep, we're going to take a pause. Let's pause.
And we're back.
I hope you enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, it was a good movie, right?
Glad you came back.
You'll hear us talking about it here in a little bit. But yeah, seriously, if you haven't seen it yet and you like Spider-Man or superhero movies or just action movies or whatever, go check it out. It's awesome.
Listen, if you don't like movies, go to this movie. If you don't like anything, if you hate everything, go see this movie. I don't even care.
If you hate everything, you probably really got some things you gotta work out.
Maybe this movie will help.
Maybe it will. Read a book. That usually helps.
Or that.
Yes, heavy spoilers. We'll go.
I just gotta say, it was amazing, and it was amazing Spider-Man.
Save it.
Sorry.
Save it for the next half. Save it for the second half. Save it for the second half.
Okay.
And we will put up another spoiler warning before we start talking again.
Okay.
But it will be after our break.
All right. So with that, Jeremiah, do you want to start us off? What have you been doing? It's been a holiday. It's been Christmas since the last time we were together.
It has been a holiday. I have been doing a lot of fantasy sci-fi, actually.
All right. Tell us about it. At least the stuff that you want to.
Everything. I'll tell you everything I've done in the past 2-3 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, I've just been, the holidays were great. first Christmas with my wife. So it was a good time.
Did Santa come?
Santa did come. And Santa brought me underwear, which tells me a lot.
You are an adult now.
No, I got some board games for us to play. That'll be fun and to play with friends. And I got her Super Mario Odyssey.
Oh,
for
nice.
her to check out. She loves the Mario games. You know, they all love the Mario games.
They're very good always.
That whole family's got a weird thing about 100%ing their Mario games.
Yes, they do. They're very thorough when they play games.
Stephanie has just recently 100%ed Super Mario Galaxy for the third time in her life, and I'm like, my goodness, woman. So I knew she would love Odyssey. She's actually currently really involved in Pokemon though.
Okay.
Which for someone who
I'll pray for her.
For someone who has to 100% a game, Pokemon is a very long game to play.
Yeah, right. Does it actually give you a percentage thing in?
No, I pretty much
Pokemon?
think that once you beat the end people and you capture all the Pokemon in the Pokédex, you probably did the most.
Even there's usually legendary ones to capture too, right?
Oh, I don't know how it is with Shield because I don't know if they've added. I don't know. Anyway, so that's been fun. So holidays were good for us. I've been doing a lot of reading. I'm like halfway through book 5 of Wheel of Time. I forgot book. I think book 5 of Wheel of Time. When people say that they just kind of stop talking about a character for a whole book,
yeah,
they're not wrong. Because I'm halfway through the book and there is a main character that's not even been mentioned.
Yeah.
I mean, mentioned in passing by another person.
But they haven't been in the scene.
They're not in the scene because they're in a completely different part of the world.
Right.
Because a lot of the characters have split up throughout. And he's one of my favorite characters, so I'll be excited to have him back probably next book, I'm assuming, or whatever, or hopefully.
Yeah.
But what is
maybe
in it?
A few books.
Maybe. But what's in it now is really good.
Yeah.
It's
Are there characters in this book, new characters that you like? That you're like, oh, I like this character.
There's not really any new characters in this book.
Okay. They're just other characters that are getting more prominent and featured.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing I heard about the Wheel of Time book series too, that every single character, it's even in the first book, they come back at some point, and a lot of some of them even become main characters for a little bit, and you're like, I didn't know this person was going to be a main character.
Yeah, I guess there is one character that was in the first book for a little bit that you would not for the life of you think would be important at all, and he's becoming important, and I think he's going to end up being very important for later on.
Okay.
It's very good. It's just a fun thing to read. I like read it in the morning or whatever when I get up and drink some coffee.
That's nice.
So that's been fun. Oh, I did get my wife.
Oh yeah, Brandon Sanderson book.
Yeah,
right?
crap. What's
Skyward?
Skyward. Because I'm trying to get her back into reading. When we first met, she's a big reader, as you know.
Right.
But she hasn't been reading as much. She hasn't been looking at anything. And I was like, well, Brandon Sanderson's amazing. And it's an easier novel. And it's shorter. And it's not part of the Cosmere.
And it's one point of view.
So she's reading it. She's already...
Oh, she's reading it? Okay,
She's
cool.
already finished part 1. Which, I mean, doesn't say much because it was 6 chapters apparently. But apparently, Brandon Sanderson is parts.
Well, you get... Every time you finish a part, you get a little hit of dopamine.
Yep.
So he's giving them to them earlier.
Yep. Wow, that's actually really smart.
It is I completed something. That's how he writes.
It is. I like how
he
gamifies.
He keeps track of percentage, and so every time he's writing, he's like, oh, 30%. I leveled up.
I like it. So she's enjoying that. I'm excited to read it after she's done.
Did she say she's loving it? She's liking it?
She said it's got her attention, which is the first book that's done that in a while. So that's good, and I'm hoping this will just really kick her back into it and so she can start reading again, because I know she enjoyed it. She just has to find the time to do it.
She likes that book. The series there's a lot of books in the series. I mean, it's not a huge series, but
it's 3 books and a bunch of
they just released a bunch of novellas before the final book comes out.
I'll definitely be reading it too, so it's a gift for me as well.
There you go. Yeah.
Other than that, though, I've been playing some Final Fantasy 12.
Okay.
On Switch. It's just fun to play on the Switch.
Who's your favorite character in that one? And you have to remind me who they are. I remember what they look like and kind of their kind of personas, but I don't remember all their names.
I can't decide right now. I like character-wise, just the character. I like Balthier. Yeah, pretty sure his name.
I think that guy's my favorite.
The Han Solo-esque guy.
Yeah, isn't he he's got the sidekick that's...
Mm-hmm. Fran. Yeah. That's a bunny.
Yeah.
Bunny woman. So that's actually been a lot of fun playing. I'm pretty much caught back up to where I was when I played it a while ago.
Okay.
So that's been fun. Still watching Arcane. I haven't finished it yet. I kind of don't want to finish it because it's been so good. So I still have 2 episodes left.
Isn't that awful?
Yes.
When shows end.
Yes. I know.
It's sorry.
It's miserable.
I'm sorry. Anyway, go ahead.
So, but I do plan on finishing that. That is, I'm telling you, man, you have to watch that. And and anybody who's listening, if you haven't watched it and you like it, I'm doing the fingers. I'm doing. You would think I'm Italian.
He's doing very aggressive hand gestures right now. Not impolite ones, but
yeah. Yeah, I'm just sitting here being impolite in gestures. No, give it a watch if you like.
I did watch the trailer recently, and I was blown away by the animation.
The animation is.
You told me the animation is really good, and I looked at it. I was like, oh, this is really good. And the story from the trailer really grabbed my attention too. It definitely seems like something I would like.
It really shows that like animation that's meant for adults, and even based off of like a video game. It's based off of League of Legends, that old like the MOBA that's been super popular forever.
Right.
It shows that like it's viable. Like you can make that because it's good, and it's definitely like because a lot of animation like anime or something that can like technically be considered a kid's show, even though a lot of sometimes maybe a little more adultish or whatever.
Yeah.
But like Naruto could be considered a kid's show. This is one of those things where like this is 100% meant for adults who like animation. It's pretty gruesome. It's just got more adult aspects to it. But the story is really good. The characters are really good. The character development is really good. I know nothing about League of Legends either. So
I don't either.
So it's like I don't really know the characters.
Right.
Yeah.
So at some point I'll check it out because we don't have Netflix right now, but I could get it.
I could probably just let you log into mine. I have enough people on it anyway. You might as well. I think I have like
that is a crime, sir.
Dude, I've got like 7 different people on my Netflix right now.
Stop! You're digging yourself deeper.
I am paying for it.
I know.
It's like I'm stealing it. Jeez. But yes, that's good. I started Witcher today.
The show.
Okay.
Okay.
Season 2 came out, and I want to give it another try, and I'm kind of just skipping past maybe some more of the or trying not to focus. Like if it's like a probably comes off and it's like a conversation that needs to be heard. Because I've been watching on my phone, I'll just set the phone down. Because I don't necessarily want to see all the nudity and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, that's why I haven't checked it out.
So I'm gonna see how it goes. If it's like just too much, then I might end up turning it off. But
it stinks because I really like Henry Cavill.
Yeah, I do too.
And he's a huge fantasy nerd too. He's read Brandon Sanderson. He likes the Witcher series, so it's cool that that type of person is taking on that role. Mm-hmm. It's just the Witcher series is unfortunately known for,
being very
adult and nudity and stuff. So, so they obviously put it in there.
We'll see how it goes. Like I said, I haven't finished episode 1 because we were so busy today at work, but we'll see how it goes. I'm excited. I am excited to watch it. I do plan on. I've been thinking about it. I think I've got quite a bit of games lined up, but I think The Witcher 3 is going to be one of them. I'm finally going to sit down and actually play completely through it.
Okay.
Just because it is a really fun game.
Yeah.
It's always been so daunting to me where I'll play for like a couple hours or get like maybe a couple hours of gameplay in and then be like, I just can't and go to something else. But I think I actually I have so many games that I haven't beaten that I'm like, I'm going to stop buying new games and actually go back and beat these old ones because they're really good games too.
It's the friggin' Steam sales, man.
It is.
It's Steam's fault.
I bought another game.
You saw that meme I made, right? Mm-hmm. That's literally me. Like right now, I'm doing everything within my power to not buy a Steam game.
I literally did. I couldn't even withhold, and I don't need it. It's also a game that I never really cared to buy, mainly because I didn't think my computer could run it. But turns out my computer actually runs it very well.
What game was it?
Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
Also, CD
Reeves.
Projekt Red, same people who made Witcher 3.
Oh okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically The Matrix, right?
It's very cyberpunky.
Keanu Reeves is in it, like he's a cameo or something.
Yeah, he's in it. I don't know how much he's in it, but he's in it. It's fun. It's just like your general open world game, just set in a cyberpunk fantasy sci-fi type of place. It's fun. It's also very vulgar, but they allow you to kind of turn like nudity off.
Oh, that's good.
So like basically, like, if there is like a nude character, it has like black over the part.
Oh, okay.
But in a way that's not like just a black bar.
Right.
That kind of gets rid of immersion, so that's nice.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I wish was like in every game that had that.
Yeah,
but people have issues.
So I'm enjoying it. It's actually pretty fun. I've actually played quite a bit of it because it is just an open world game. Because I've kind of been wanting to get lost in a game.
Yeah.
Like that. I'm not going to continue to play it for a long time because I got other games I'm trying to play through first. But I have it. I know for a fact now my computer runs it, and my computer runs it pretty well.
Yeah.
Which I'm very happy about. So yeah, it's been fun. I got a couple. There's been a couple sales on the iPad of games that I've been wanting. So Baldur's Gate 1. The old CRPG was on sale for like $2, so I got it on my iPad. Already played a little bit of it and love it. It works super well on the iPad. That type of game.
Nice, awesome.
So I'll be playing. I play that. That's more for like when I'm at work and I don't feel like drawing or whatever.
Right.
I'll just play that. I'll do that a little bit. But yeah, I think that's kind of it. I mean, I got a bunch of shows I still got to finish.
You've been drawing.
I have been drawing Juwoo.
It was mentioned on our last episode with Juwoo guest starring Josh Carrig.
I've been drawing
Josh.
Just
whatever.
said you did not. I don't care. I'm pretty sure it's on his page anyway. So if anyone were
good.
Josh, shout out to Juwoo. It was mentioned last episode, and I have actually been working on it, and I've been very excited to work on it, and I'm actually getting really far.
It looks really good, too.
It doesn't look exactly how I want it to look, but I'm giving myself a lot of grace because it is the first time I've ever done a full illustration in color with background and character and everything, and I'm very happy with how it's turned out, considering that fact.
I think it's looking good, yeah.
Josh likes it. Juwoo likes it. From what I have so far, it is nearing the end. He's already said that he thinks he wants to use it he's going to release an EP soon. He wants to use it for that EP. So I think instead of posting it, I'm going to wait until that EP releases, then post it. But eventually, it will be on my Instagram. And for those who do follow my Instagram or want to, it will turn into a full art page, I think. I'm going to stop making it a personal one and do art on it instead because I want to branch out a little bit more. And show, trying to get out there. So
you should do it.
But that's kind of it for me. It's been a lot, but it's been fun.
That's what you wanted.
I'm out of school. I've been out of school, and I'm like, all right. Even my wife is like, "Hey, you been spending a lot of time like on the computer playing games?" And I'm like, I know, and not like I'm neglecting my family.
Right.
She just made a comment about the other day, and I was like, I know. I was like, I'm out of school, and she's like, oh no, I get it. You're out of school. You're out of school. You're having fun.
Right.
So it's just been fun. It's been a fun time.
Awesome. Well, is it my turn?
Is it your turn?
Does that mean it's my turn?
What have you been up to, Josh?
I've been up to things too, and I think I told you. I think I said to you maybe like because I write so heavily in November, and I think also because of over the years growing up, I would play a lot of video games when I was off school. I feel like have this wired pattern to feel like playing video games
during
December, like around Christmas time. So I played some games. I mean, my family got a Switch for Christmas. So we've been playing with the family. We've been playing some Mario Kart. Got a fun
Mario Kart's always super fun.
Yeah, very fun. And got like a cool fitness game that my wife and I have tried out. It's actually really cool because it's like a little storyline, and there's like it's kind of like in the game you're doing things. You have this like ring, and you're it's called Ring Fit Adventure. You're like pushing in on this ring or pulling out on it, and it's kind of got a lot of tension to it, so it's like hard to push in and pull out and stuff. But in the game you're doing things like you're actually like fighting an enemy. Or you're like platforming, like you're running straight ahead, and you actually have to run to move your person. So you're like jogging in place, and then there's like something you need to jump over. So you squeeze the ring and point it down, and then it like blows like air on the ground, and you like pop up into the air. And it's a really interesting way to get you to kind of be doing fitness stuff, but you're actually playing a game at the same time. So it's not like it's not like the game is just exercise. It's
how dare they try to make exercising fun?
No,
how dare they?
I did it, and I was like getting really a good sweat worked up. And normally, when it comes to that kind of thing, I'm just like, I don't want to be tired and sweaty, But like playing the game was doing it in the game was like fun to do it. So like I'm like sprinting to like get a little faster through the level. I'm like running.
I'm just imagining this now.
Oh yeah, I was. Yeah, you would have laughed because
that's awesome. Well, we're all gonna have to go play it.
Yeah, I was just thinking it'd be very fun to see you guys.
Reminds me of like Wii Sports.
It's like a combination of like Wii Fit and Wii Sports. Like has that feel of where you're doing something physical, but you're also like doing these kind of workouts. Like it's like they're actually trying to work out certain muscles. And
that's
things. Awesome. So that's cool. And then I got a little side-scrolling game on the Switch because they have some sales going on.
A lot of good indie side-scrolling games.
I found this game called Far: Lone Sales or something like that, and it's this little side-scrolling game. You're like this little girl, and you start the game out. It's very like there's no storyline that like it gives you. The storyline is this little girl. She's like by a grave, and it's got a picture of probably her dad or something, and it's obviously like this some sort of kind of post-apocalyptic or some kind of ecological like disaster type thing has happened to where she is or the planet or something. Mm-hmm. She runs and gets into this steampunky kind of like land ship, so it's like got a huge wheel and it runs on steam, and you grab stuff and throw it into the engine, and it turns it into steam, into fuel. And then you have all these little buttons in your ship that you're pushing to release the steam when it builds up, and hit on the brake, and then you get more attachments to it to like put out fires on your thing. You get a sail at one point that can lower and raise. It was really fun, like relaxing game to play because it's just the music's nice. It's a pretty game, and it's just very simple. What you're doing. You're not really like.
It does look it has a very pretty aesthetic to it.
It's not a stressful game really to play, and
it's always nice.
But it's fun. It was fun because you're like managing this little ship thing and all the things inside of it. So it's kind of a fun thing. So I played through that, beat that game.
Nice.
And I'm playing for the first time Breath of the Wild, Legend of Zelda,
that
your wife let me borrow, and loving that. It's been a good bit of time getting into that. It's very interesting compared to other Zelda games. There's a lot less, especially up front. I mean, you do get story stuff more as you go, but up front there's a lot less explaining of what's going on, and
it's a lot less linear.
Definitely less linear. Definitely, yeah, very open world. And definitely just like really I feel like it just trusts the person playing a lot, because you just like walk into these shrines and it doesn't tell you it's a puzzle, and most of them, especially starting out, are somewhat simple, and it's just teaching you how to use the these different special abilities that you have from this little tablet thing that you carry around with you. Then I've gotten into some more complex ones, and just walk in and you just kind of look around and figure out.
You just gotta figure out the puzzle.
And it's really cool when you solve them too. You feel really smart and kind of wonder, like, is this how I was supposed to do it the whole time, or is there another way to do it? Because I had one that I had like two ideas of how I would. It was basically like this room. There's water at the bottom of the room, and you turn this wheel and it makes the water level go up, so then you can swim across to this other room. And then there's a button down at the bottom, but when the water level's up, you can't get down to push the button. So you have to like put this barrel above it and then lower the water so it pushes the button. But then you have to figure out, how am I going to get back over there, because it's going to open a door when it pushes the button. So figuring out how to do that took some time with the abilities I had, but when I solved it, I was like, is that how I was supposed to do it the whole time? Anyway, That's just for example some of the puzzles that you do in the game.
Yeah, definitely. When I played it, and I'll admit that when I first played it through it a little bit, I wasn't the biggest fan. Have not played many Zelda games as it is.
Heretic.
I just didn't. I was a Kingdom Hearts kid, all right? No, I'm just right. Yeah, I just never played as much Zelda, so like I wasn't like full force into it. I enjoyed the aesthetic of the game, the way it looked.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed the gameplay a little bit. I just couldn't get invested. I'm also very big. I like a linear story.
Right.
And so sometimes when I am giving just that free ability to roam,
right,
I'm, I guess, overwhelmed maybe. Which is why like I said earlier, like The Witcher 3. Like, it's such a big open world, and like I have a lot. There is a linear story there, but I have so much freedom that like I sometimes get overwhelmed. So like when you take away the story, then to an extent, I get even more overwhelmed.
Right.
So it's just like whatever. But I do want to get, I think when you're done completely with it, no rush, by the way, I might try and play it again and go through it and see how I feel about it. Especially with, I'm pretty sure they've already announced that the second one's coming out at one point.
Okay, awesome.
So I do want to. Yeah. I really do like the aesthetic of the game. It looks it's very fun to play, and it's very pretty to play.
Yeah. It is definitely very fun, and it does a good job. The game does a good job of making you use all the different systems, like the crafting system, the cooking system, because the like weapons break all the time. You have to try out different weapons and different. Now, I've started to get some weapons that are a lot more durable. Like just picking them up from different enemies and stuff. So that's encouraging to know. But then, anyway, it's just like, I don't know. It's just like, I feel like sometimes in RPGs, like there's so much in it that you can really go through a lot of the game and just not use most of a lot of the systems and things, because you're just like, that's a lot to figure out. Like Skyrim, like I've played a lot of Skyrim, and I haven't hardly touched any of the crafting because it's just a little overwhelming.
And I do think that is part of it though, is because that gives it replayability. Yeah, that's why they do that. I think that's why a lot of those games do that. Like Skyrim, I know so many people that have replayed that game so many times, of hours, hundreds of hours sunk into that because of the replayability. And good on them.
Yeah,
that's awesome. But you're right though. Like that Zelda does a good job of. Breath of the Wild does a good job of allowing you and really almost to an extent making you use everything that you have. As far as the puzzles go, especially if you want to do all of the shrines and stuff like that.
Which when you're dying, there's a little bit of a more punishing aspect to the combat. I've noticed you die a lot easier because of the save system. It doesn't hurt you too bad because it just is frustrating if you're in like a big fight that you're trying to win. You have to keep starting over. But as far as like it saves really close to so you don't really it's not like, oh no, I just died again. But because the combat's more punishing, that kind of builds in go to the shrines, because every time you complete a shrine, you get a little soul piece or something like that, and you get 4 of those. You can go and pray at the temple, and you'll get another heart piece. So it increases your life. So that's just another aspect
of stamina.
Or stamina, right? Yeah, I haven't done that yet because I'm just like, no, more health.
I'm telling you, you're gonna want some stamina.
I know. I think the next time I go back, I'll probably go back for stamina, because I've started to get better at using the shield. Like I wasn't using the shield hardly at all for most of the game so far. But yeah. Anyway, so that's been a lot of fun. I have to talk for a second.
Oh no.
About something I encountered over the last couple weeks. Oh no. It's a show that I told you about. It's called Over the Garden Wall. This is an animated show. And I wouldn't say that it's meant for adults. Like, it's definitely not like a little kid show, but it has, it has themes that I just think are good for all ages. But the two main characters is a older brother and a younger brother. Like a older brother is probably like 13, 14, and the younger brother is like 7 or 8 or something like that. Nothing unclean. Nothing.
Nothing uncleanly in this environment.
Nothing dirty in it. So I can heartily recommend it. It is a show about these two brothers that they somehow have gotten lost in this forest. They don't know how. They're trying to figure out how to get the way home. And as they go, it's just a very weird. They have these very weird encounters with different things going on in the forest, different characters and different storylines that are happening with these characters in the forest. And at first, well, I mean, the stories that each episode is like almost like its own self-contained little whimsical kind of, somewhat whimsical, sometimes somewhat unsettling kind of fantasy story or fairy story type thing. But it's all centering around this one aspect of the story, which is that there's this beast in the forest. And lots of times when they run into different characters in the episodes and go through those stories, they're warned to beware of the beast. And you get different details about him, and the show does a very good job of like you know kind of misdirecting you a little bit on who's the beast. It has a very Alice in Wonderland feel, kind of like, you know, the falling down the rabbit hole and there's all these weird things going on down there. But it also has a very good, like, just the character, the relationship between the brothers is really kind of touching. You know, how the younger brother is just so optimistic and just so, he gets into a lot of trouble and stuff like that, but he's just such a supportive younger brother. And the older brother, you know, has his own like angsty kind of stuff because he's older. He's like about in high school and
angsty.
And he's always having to keep up, like get them out of trouble their brother gets them into, but he really cares for his brothers, trying to take care of them. And I don't know, there's just something like really well done voice acting. Elijah Wood's the main voice actor of the older brother, and there's actually a lot of cameos like from different characters of people that are, I'm not going to be able to say their names, but they're people that have been a lot of different things over the years that probably people like older than me would recognize them from. But just really great voice acting, really great writing, very funny. The humor in it is really funny, between like the conversations between the older and younger brother. And there's this robin that's like indebted to them because they pull it out of a vine or something like that, and it's following around and it can talk. So there's just a lot of great humor. I don't really know how to like articulate why it was so interesting to me. It was just such a tightly well done story. And
yeah, I still need to check it out.
You're like totally hearing. I've said this all to you. So sorry, but for those out there listening,
you're good. Keep talking.
If you like really well done animated stories, that are a little bit whimsical, check out Over the Garden Wall. It's really a cool show, and you know, it's not like it was 2014 when it came out, so it's not like a thing that's going to come back or anything probably anytime soon, but it wasn't meant to. It was just like, here's this story we want to tell, and here's the number of episodes we need to tell it, and then they did it, and they executed it really well, I think. So anyway,
it does look like, in case you're curious, I don't know if you are bigger into it, but
what's that?
It looks like they have a graphic novel that kind of
Yes, I just did read that they did a graphic novel, and they actually have done like other stories that weren't in the actual show.
The artwork for this one actually looks really good. Yeah, for the Soulful Symphonies, which sounds epic.
Yeah,
it actually does sound really cool. It's a cool title.
Huh. Yeah, so I know there's that stuff is out there. They have some cool merchandise out there too that I'm tempted to buy. But
we're just gonna have to talk about it because I'm gonna have to watch it at one point. They're 10-minute episodes. That's so easy to get through. Like,
yeah, it is. It's very very pulls you really through into the next one.
Maybe I'll even watch one before I go to bed, depending on how I'm feeling.
Yeah, check it out.
Just throw it on my phone before I.
It's the length of a short movie. when you think about it.
Yeah, altogether. Yeah,
not even 2 hours.
Sweet.
But yeah, so that is something I watched, and yeah, there's not really much more. I don't remember if I said on the last podcast that did I finish Ender's Game on the last podcast?
Last podcast was with my brother, so I don't think
I just can't remember.
So.
I mean, I read Ender's Game. It was really good. Definitely much better than the movie.
Yeah, I need to read that again. Oh, too many things, dude. Every time we do this podcast, I just reminded of all the things that I want to do or read or play or watch.
Now you'll get to it.
I know. I have a long time to go. Hopefully.
Well,
anything else?
I always feel like I'm forgetting something here, and I probably am, but we should take a drink break so that we can come back and talk about Spider-Man. We are going to be... Just come back for the drink break.
Come back for the drink break.
You're going to want to come back for the drink break.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but you're going to want to.
We'll figure out why.
We're going to make it worth your while.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah. Come on back.
Come on back. And we're back.
We are back. Yes, we are.
We have some champagne.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And we're not really trying. I mean, we're trying it because I've never had this kind of champagne.
I don't think I have either.
Brand before, but we just thought since it's New Year's Eve, we would drink some champagne, and maybe we should do like a toast.
A little toast?
Yeah. I don't really know how to do toasts.
I don't either. Ding, 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 ding. I have a toast to make.
Oh, you do. Go ahead.
Oh, what do you toast? To the new year. To the new year of Bridge of Two.
There you go. 1 year down and...
Well, half a year-ish.
Yeah, half a year? Well, whatever.
Another year of Bridge of Two.
80 years to go.
80 years. Another year with and then 2 more after that with another 6 added on. And then we'll see what happens then.
After our 10th season?
We're going for at least 10 seasons, kids. Let's to another year of...
I have a toast.
Oh no. What is it?
To Stormlight 5.
Oh.
Starting to be written January 1st.
Oh.
To all our characters, may none of them die.
Oh, please.
In that book.
Please, no.
That is my toast.
I like it.
Let's try that. Oh, do you have one?
Nope. Just to the podcast. Well done. Hopefully we can get it. More people will listen and enjoy. Because we do. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Let's try it. Ooh, that's good champagne.
Nice, yeah.
It's very sweet.
He asked if the guy who, when I walked in, I was like, I need champagne.
What's the sweetest kind?
And he was like, sweet or not sweet? I was like, sweet. So this is definitely sweet.
Sweet, yeah.
You know, the last time I had champagne was at your wedding. You got an anniversary coming up too.
I do. That's
number 1.
That's kind of what our trip is for, to an extent.
Awesome.
It's a little bit of an early anniversary trip. When's the last time I drank champagne? I don't remember. I don't think it was man. Jeez.
You think you've had it since?
I've had it since. I just don't know when. Steph and I drink wine and champagne every so often. So.
Okay. Well. All right, so let's give you guys another big
spoiler
warning. Spider-Man No Way Home. If you haven't seen it and you don't want to be spoiled, I really encourage you, if you are planning on seeing it, even if you don't care about spoilers, this is like the kind of movie you don't want to be spoiled for.
And then we'll give you a pause real quick.
Yeah.
Spoiler warning. Yep. Spoiler for No Way Home. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. You were being warned time and time again. We're gonna give you a 6-second little pause here to go pause it to come back when you're ready, so that you don't accidentally get spoiled.
And when the 6 seconds is over, I'm gonna just yell all the spoilers.
Well, I will say the first spoiler there is. Alrighty, you ready? 6 seconds ish.
6,
5,
4,
3, 2, 1.
Happy New Year!
There will also be spoilers for every other Spider-Man movie that there is, and that's your first spoiler for No Way Home.
Yeah, there you go.
Which, if you haven't seen any of those, my goodness, dude. Like, come on. Some of them
Let's crawl into the web of Spider-Man No Way Home.
It's opening crawl. No.
Opening crawl. There's no crawl. This is Star Wars.
I know. Oh yeah.
Everything does not have to have an opening crawl, Jeremiah.
It does if it wants to be good.
All right.
No, but yeah. Gosh, I want to watch. What was the second one? Far From Home.
Oh yeah.
With
Far From Home.
With what's his name in it?
Yeah, I only saw it. I think I only watched that once.
I only watched it once too.
It was good, but
because those are coming out in the time when I was done with the Marvel films. I was like, they're just coming out all the time, and they're kind of the same. And I'm just, and I love Spider-Man. I think I've mentioned it before. Spider-Man is one of my more favorite, especially Marvel, one of my more favorite Marvel superheroes.
Yeah.
And so I did see it, but I didn't see it a lot. So I kind of want to go back and watch it, and then go watch No Way Home. Gosh, they sure went with the theme, didn't they?
They kept the home in there, yeah. Homecoming is the first one.
All the memes, by the way, for some of them. Homewrecker, I think was one. there are some good memes for these movies. But yeah, because I mean, for No Way Home, this is gonna happen the entire time. No Way Home definitely hits. It is a continuation of Far From Home. Like it's
a sequel.
You can technically watch No Way Home without watching Far From Home and kind of get what's happening because the story doesn't. But the what sets up the story is Far From Home. Far From Home sets up the story.
Yeah, you can get it because they do right at the beginning of the movie. They put you at the end of the second movie, which I completely had forgotten how the second movie ended. I remembered it was all with Mysterio, but so here's spoiler for Far From Home. There's a big twist with the Mysterio is that he's this character that looks like he's a superhero and he's saving the day and he's working with Peter and Spider-Man, but turns out he's manufacturing all of it with some like high-tech drone technology and holograms and stuff, and just to build the brand of something, and like it's money, it's like about money and it's about fame and all this stuff. He's got some kind of bone to pick with, I think, Robert Downey Jr. or something. Yeah. Not Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark. This isn't real. The movie ends with a big twist because the whole world has been excited and thinking Mysterio is a really good guy, and then I don't remember if he was dying because Peter did something or if he killed himself. I don't remember, but what I know he did is he pinned it on Peter through like doctoring some footage he was taking on his suit and making it look like Peter was launching drone missiles that were like killing a bunch of people, and that he was then killing Mysterio. And so the movie opens with the whole world getting broadcasted to the whole world. Everybody seeing Mysterio's crafted, who's now dead. Mysterio's crafted a video pinning everything on Peter and revealing Peter's identity.
Revealing that Peter is Spider-Man.
So everybody now knows he's Spider-Man, and they think that he's a murderer and that he killed this great superhero. So it's just a huge, crazy opening. I mean, like the energy right away is so intense because of how everything's going sideways for Peter.
Very fast.
He's like literally has to go and like get MJ out of a crowd because people are standing in New York City, Times Square, like seeing this video and then like looking over and seeing MJ and Zendaya's character getting like mobbed by reporters and people and stuff. And so anyway, and the movie quickly really starts to like just pile on the fallout.
Yeah, I mean they definitely did a good job of like really piling on the fallout to Peter of kind of like what is that this is all actually happening, that like he has been outed and
and like it's completely changed his whole entire world and his whole like reality of existing.
And it's interesting too because it's done in a way that like usually with superheroes is like I can't reveal my identity to the world because then they'll know, the bad guys will know who I love and they'll go after him. And so a lot of times when an identity is revealed, you think that's what's going to happen, but this time it was like, oh no, it's not that the villains are out to get him, it's just that everybody else
right,
knows this, and then is also mad because of Mysterio. These things that Mysterio has said.
Right. There doesn't need a. There's a need. They don't even need a villain to come after him now because the whole world's coming after him.
Yes.
He gets arrested and questioned by some made-up federal division, Department of Damage Control,
something like that. Yeah.
Probably something to do with superheroes.
Yeah.
And.
But
yeah.
I mean, that's the big setup, though. Is that's the setup for me. That's all happening, and jumping in a little bit, it's just it is such a young Peter Parker Spider-Man thing for that setup to lead to what the setup is for the rest of the story, which is him and his friends aren't accepted at the colleges they want to go to, and it is because of Peter being Spider-Man, and his friends know Spider-Man.
Because they're associated with him,
and so he's upset by that. And so his thought was, I'm gonna go to
knee-jerk response
is I'm gonna go to Doctor Strange and ask him to erase at least some people's memories about me.
Yeah.
So that I can, everybody's memories except for certain people, so that this won't be an issue.
Well, the problem is, and that's the whole problem with that whole solution, is he didn't think it through, like what he actually was asking for. He took it for granted that, what he actually wanted to happen would just be known or whatever. So whenever Doctor Strange agrees to, Doctor Strange feels bad pulling on the heartstrings.
He actually agreed really, really quickly and willingly.
Yeah, that was kind of like, I thought about that. That's kind of, sometimes movies have like the one big gimme that you have to give them, kind of suspend your disbelief a little bit. And I feel like that was the one for this movie. It's like you kind of have to give them that Doctor Strange goes along with this, because it seems like,
I feel like the whole situation with the spell in general throughout the whole movie was kind of like that gimme. Like, I would give it to you. Like, I kind of have to suspend my belief.
Like the way the spell works?
The spell in general, and like even jumping to the end, like how how it has to be fixed with the spell, just seemed kind of just interesting.
Yeah. It was a little thin, but I feel like there was enough there.
It was definitely enough there where like I didn't think it detracted from the movie or anything like that, and like I don't mind,
Well, so the spell is that he wants everyone to forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and then as Doctor Strange is messing with doing the spell, which is apparently pretty straightforward, if you just have that simple parameter in the spell. As he's saying it, I said, well, but wait. He was like, wait, my girlfriend's going to forget that I'm Spider-Man? Because, I don't know if she would be my girlfriend now if she didn't know I'm Spider-Man, and I don't want to have to go through And then so he changes that, and Doctor Strange is like, okay, don't change it again. And then he starts adding in other people he wants exempted.
Continuously changing.
So Doctor Strange is continually, as he's doing the spell, having to change it. And then it starts to go way out of control. So he contains the spell, down into this little like thing, so the spell didn't work. It didn't take effect. They didn't let it go, because if they had, it was getting so unstable, it could have really messed. Wink,
wink, nudge,
wink,
nudge.
Wink. Really messed with time and multiverse stuff. Here's the thing, though: it did mess with it, even though he thought he contained it.
It didn't mess with it as big as it would have,
right?
But it did mess with it. And that's also the best part after that scene is that all happens, it all goes down, and Doctor Strange is so upset, and he goes,
"Wait a second."
Makes a comment about having Peter going and talking to the college lady about getting them in, and Peter goes, "Wait."
He's like, "Wait, I can do that?
You can do that?" And like it's one of those things where like to me it just seems like such a young Spider-Man thing to just have that rash decision to do this and be like, "Oh wait. Oh yeah,
I'll call my superhero friends to help me before I'll actually talk to
the thing." And then so he does. He goes and tracks her down on the bridge, and
right. Which I mean, that's kind of a theme. I think a little bit of a theme of. Well, it's not a theme, but it's like in this movie. That's kind of the. It's that issue of him having problems because he's Spider-Man, and because being Spider-Man comes with problems. And now the world knows he's Spider-Man, because he's not trying. He doesn't want to have to deal with that, because it's it's really hard to deal with. But because he doesn't want to have to deal with that, he went to have this whole crazy spell, mess with time, mess with the multiverse, mess with people's memories, and the fallout from that keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and so it kind of keeps piling on those consequences up on his shoulders throughout the movie. It keeps ratcheting it up. It starts out with just, we almost did something really bad, and Doctor Strange is mad at me, and then when he's on the bridge trying to go talk to the woman from admissions or whatever.
And that's, really the bridge is when you get your first, we all knew it because of the trailer, obviously, but like you really get your first big, oof, this is interesting, because you get none other than Doc Ock, Dr. Octavius, from
Spider-Man 2.
The original Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire in it. Same actor and everything. They I think same actor, right? Just they CGI'd him a little bit.
Totally same actor. They just, technology is getting amazing with like getting older actors back into stuff.
And so you see that and you're like, because as far as we know in this Spider-Man, that he's never met Doc Ock yet. And then they start having this conversation kind of like in the middle of the fighting, and you start to realize like something weird's going on here, and you realize that this is the Doc Ock from at least a different multiverse, because he even sees Peter's face. He goes, "You're not Peter."
Yeah. But so he kind of quickly deals with that, and then Green Goblin shows up.
The OG Tobey Maguire Green Goblin, from what we can see.
The same exact armor, glider
and everything.
Same time a bomb lands on the bridge, and this kind of just starts to gets into this new problem now that they realize they have, which is that these villains somehow something with the spell went wrong, and so because the spell had to do with who knew that Peter was Spider-Man, it's pulling people from other universes that know that Peter is Spider-Man into his universe. And so it's pulled in Green Goblin, it's pulled in Dr. Ock.
You find out from Doctor Strange.
What?
Why do I keep forgetting his name? It's Doctor Strange, right?
Yeah, Doctor
Strange. I
don't
know why I keep forgetting his name. We find out from him that the lizard, I cannot remember his name to save my life.
Dr. Connors.
Dr. Connors is there.
Yeah.
Lizard Man himself.
Yeah. From the
other
Andrew Garfield,
the amazing Spider-Man movies with Andrew Garfield. And so you're like, okay, so it's not just one universe, it's another universe. So it's just one of the things we watch is like, this is where you start thinking like, are they going to do what they think they're going to do?
Right.
And
right, that's the big question. So the big question throughout this whole thing, which we actually talked about on an episode of the podcast, was, do you think they're going to actually do the thing? Are they actually going to bring in Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and do like a Spider-Verse kind of? And
are they actually going to do it, or is it going to be like a gimmick where they bring them in for like 5 seconds?
It's going to be like a little cameo where you just see them for a second, or
so this is in the back of our mind the entire time, and then of course there's a couple more hijinks with Peter, then MJ and his other friend are trying to track down the other ones, and you find I think Sandman, from Spider-Man 3, and then Electro, from Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I think then we end up finding Green Goblin again.
Right, Green Goblin, like actually you see him in the alleyway.
Not as Green Goblin, but as what's his name?
He takes off his costume.
Man,
Norman Osborn.
Yes, I need to rewatch all his movies. It's been a while. Holy cow! Norman Osborn. He's acting like homeless and more like because in the first Spider-Man he is kind of got that separate personality.
Right. He's schizophrenic. Well, I don't know if schizophrenic is the right word, but split personality.
Like split personality. I think it's
where.
What it is.
The serum that he took out of desperation to try out his super soldier like suits that he needed a breakthrough on kind of gave him this psychosis issue, and he's still having that issue. He's like arguing with himself, kind of like Gollum. And then the next kind of problem. So the problem is, okay, we've got to track down these people and get them, trap them, and then Doctor Strange has this spell contained, and he's got it set up so that once they have them all they got to do is push this button.
Send them back to
the universe. And it will send them back to their own universes. Problem solved, right? Mm-hmm. Right, Jeremiah?
Problem solved. Sounds great to me.
Sounds all good and well.
Unless you're Spider-Man and you're a good guy.
Except the problem is, as they talk to them, all those villains, they realize that all those villains were pulled out of their universe right before they were killed. So it was like, because all those villains in their original movies, they died through different means, different things happened to them. Most of the time it was like them doing something, trying to kill Spider-Man and then killing themselves. I think Doc Ock actually was heroically pulled down his own machine.
Yeah, I actually watched that scene the other day because it's the same scene where MJ finds out that Peter is Spider-Man.
Right.
And so and Doc Ock actually does have that moment of clarity and decides to pull the sun down, the machine down into the river.
But
you find out that all of them are in their timeline. If they're sent back, they will all die.
Yep.
And Peter being this Peter is like, wait a minute, what? No, I don't want to know. Wait, what? Huh? What?
Right. It's all of a sudden it's this moral dilemma because it's like, well, maybe they would have died, but now they're not dead. They're here, but I know if I send them back, they will definitely die. So am I, killing them all?
And it comes back to his Aunt May in this being very big on helping those in need, and
which Aunt May was a big part of this.
Part of this, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
So long story short, with all that, he ends up deciding, I'm going to help him, and there's a nice, really cool, interesting fight scene with Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, and I love that Spider-Man, which is like, wait, this is all just geometry. I know geometry, and then just like owns Doctor Strange in his own world, and gets out of there, which was just super
in the mirror
fun.
realm. Yeah, he traps him in the mirror realm. Which was a funny moment because it's like, now that you really are on your own here, if you mess this up. And I do want to remind everyone thinking about it, because like the reason that the whole thought process behind him helping these villains is that all of them were when they became villains, there was something that happened to them that kind of like pushed them over the edge mentally.
Yeah, he
Norman Osborn took the serum. Doc Ock had an inhibitor chip for these the AI in his arms that broke, so then they were like controlling him. And then you had Electro.
Something with the electricity screwed with his head.
I think it was the electricity, yeah.
Connors with the lizard just changed his mind. Right.
And he like became obsessed to like thinking this is like the next stage of human evolution.
The one interesting character in this all though was Sandman, which is he never really wasn't necessarily, at least in this movie and kind of extent number 3, wasn't necessarily nefarious.
Right.
He says he actually helps Peter stop Electro.
Uh-huh. He wants to get back.
He wants to get back to his daughter.
Yeah, he's not worried about going back and dying. He wants to go back to see his daughter.
Yeah, he's the one character that actually isn't dead.
Right.
In his timeline.
And his only issue though was in his timeline, his condition as like Sandman, pure sand, is it was like, I think whenever he went back to see his daughter after he got out of prison, he tried to get back to his daughter like right after the things happened, and somehow it scared her.
Yeah, something with the sand. Yeah.
So basically, like, he did need to be helped as well.
Just in a different.
Not to become not evil as much as.
And so that kind of becomes Peter's whole goal is to kind of figure out, okay, well, let's find out what's all this stuff going on. Let's see if we can fix it.
Right.
So that's a funny little scene of all of them going into the apartment.
Yeah. So I mean, whether you think it's dumb or not, I think some people, and I had a little bit of a moment at first. I'm like, oh, really? Am I really on board with the idea that these supervillains deserve a second chance or whatever? But, as far as the fun of seeing them interact and seeing them like, in there trying to not be villains, like Electro is like constantly, he's once so, because Electro's thing is he's like, there's a different energy here. I can feel it. And I could really be something else here. And he's kind of tempted to kind of like, I don't know if I want to go back. Yeah. So anyway.
And it's interesting too, because I agree with you. Like, at least there, it's just like, do these people really deserve? Not necessarily deserve, but like, are we really gonna go through all this trouble to help these people who are evil and killed people? And,
right.
And like, I get circumstances
and the damage that could be caused by giving them that
second chance,
like by giving the chance and
kind of comes back. I do think that the scene that follows this in a little bit that we'll talk about drives home the fact that like this is just who Peter is.
Mm-hmm.
Peter is gonna help these, especially this Peter in this world is gonna help these people as much as he can, because he does feel for what they've you know, what's happened to them. I think especially consider, you know, probably things going on now with everybody, him almost kind of becoming the enemy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I have more thoughts on that when we get further down. You know,
I can pretty much just kind of, because this scene is, I mean, we can kind of jump there now to an extent, because you have the scene then, because I don't want to get too bogged down just going over the whole movie.
Yeah,
like they start doing research into how to fix these people, and ultimately Doc Ock actually, Peter manages to figure out how his chip works, fixes the chip.
Yeah,
and then Doc Ock is like, wait a minute, I can, because remember the issue with the chip was when it got fried, instead of him being able to control the arms, they started almost like speaking in his head.
Right. And
so he kind of became almost schizophrenic in a way, but to an extreme extent where it became violent and bad, because he was hearing these voices that were telling him to do bad things.
Right. They were obsessed with that project that he was working on.
And so now you have this inhibitor chip fixed, and he's like, and he literally stopped, like right there, he's like, wait a minute, I don't, like, it's silent, you know, and you start realizing like, okay, maybe Peter's onto something here. Maybe there really is something going on, and Doc Ock literally says, like, guys, and he starts helping Peter to try and figure out the rest of the stuff. And then, you know, long story short, that is when the Green Goblin makes his appearance again. He was with them the whole time, but as Norman.
Yeah, so Norman Osborn is like working with Peter and things like that. And there's this really cool scene where Peter's spidey sense is going crazy, but he's in a room full of villains. Mm-hmm. So he's like he's like, oh my gosh, someone in here has really ill intentions, and I don't know who it is, and so he zeroes in on Norman, and then Norman speaks as Green Goblin and not Norman anymore, and
turns everybody against.
Yep.
Which was another scene too, which was really cool, because you really see that, okay, helping these people really help, because you have Doc Ock being like, no, like,
yeah, you can see
seriously, he can help you guys. Like, you see Doc Ock is really like starting to change, which may seem weird to some people that like he just has this weird change all of a sudden, but I think it really drives home the fact that like that inhibitor chip with the arms really is what screwed him up. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what they're trying to drive home.
Yeah.
So you have that scene, and of course they all start attacking and break out, and I gotta say, man, Willem Dafoe, he's the one who plays Norman and Green Goblin. My gosh, he was terrifying in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, he went all out in this movie.
He's a very, Green Goblin, especially his portrayal, is a very Joker-esque type of character. And it was very much that feel of like the Batman Joker kind of facing off kind of thing, because I mean, in this movie, Green Goblin, it's not like Green Goblin's trying to destroy the planet. This movie, it's really about Peter, and it's not about saving the world. It's about Peter's life not being burned down by his actions, and Green Goblin's there to make sure it does get burned down. I mean, like, that's all he's doing. It's like he's trying to push Peter over the edge.
Yeah.
And in a very Joker kind of way. And
yeah, this point in the movie is where really, like, the rest of the movie was really good. I was enjoying it. It was cool seeing these old villains and these old actors from these old movies. Mm-hmm. But this point in the movie is where it really was just like, I feel like it really grabbed my attention, because it started hitting what I really like in storytelling, and that's when you start really when the story and the things happen in the story and the characters in the story really start interacting with each other in a way that pushes each character to the edge. Or like when you have a situation where like the main character is pushed to the edge. You have that happen with this scene with all this happening and everything like that. And, you have Aunt May running down, and, long story short, they're in this situation. All the cops are there now because they know Peter's there, and they think that, and of course J. Jonah Jameson is making a big old hassle with these evil villains are there and with Peter, and they're all against whatever, which isn't helping Peter's image. But all this is happening. Which
J. Jonah Jameson is the same person in every universe, apparently.
Which is the
exact same actor.
Which is amazing. It really, literally is. It is amazing. But you have all this happening, and it really comes back down to this movie, especially with the Green Goblin, because it really seemed to me like in this one, the Green Goblin kind of was like being driven home as like the main villain. Right. You have the rest, and I think they're like the Syndicate 5 or whatever they're called.
There's the Sinister Six.
Sinister Six is kind of what it seemed like they're going for here.
Yeah.
But you really had the Green Goblin that kind of was like the ringleader and really driving a lot of his home, and it seemed like he really had it out for trying to get at this particular Peter. And I mean, he does it in a very Joker-esque way of just like, you know, even like the I mean, Willem Dafoe just freaking nailed it in this. I also really liked how they changed his look. They went away from the green costume to him actually wearing the Green Goblin hood, and looking more like the Green Goblin in the comics was really cool.
Right. Well, it kind of just drives home that Green Goblin is inside him. It's not the costume, it's not the mask, you know, and it makes it more unsettling in a way. It's his like smile and his grin, like just enjoying what he's doing. I mean, he throws you know, in this scene where he's just started to undo everything Peter's trying to do. Aunt May and him are down in the lobby of this apartment, like high rise, and he throws a bomb in. Aunt May and Peter are thrown back, and this was a very character defining. This was a character defining thing for Spider-Man, because Peter Parker in this world has never said or heard, to my knowledge, been told, with great power comes great responsibility.
Because this Peter Parker never had that Uncle Ben, as far as we're aware.
He says something in the first Spider-Man. He says like, you know, when bad things happen to people and you can do something to stop it. If you don't, then you're responsible. Like he said some version of it. Yeah. But I don't think he had the moment with Uncle Ben. Like the other Spider-Man did.
The with great power. The quintessential Spider-Man line of with great power comes great responsibility.
But here in this scene, when everything's falling apart and Peter's like, we never should have done this.
Mm-hmm. We should have just sent them home. It's not my responsibility.
Despite the fact that the apartment building is on fire and all this stuff is happening, they're both injured. Aunt May looks at Peter and says, no. With great power comes great responsibility, and if you did not do the wrong thing by trying to take responsibility and help these people. Because he's like, it's not my problem. They're not my problem. They can go back to the universe and they won't be my problem. And I shouldn't have to worry about fixing it. And she's saying, you do have to, because you have great power.
And you can fix it. You have the ability to, and so you should.
And I should have known when she said that she was about to die.
Yep. I know. I think we as soon as she said the line, we all should have just been like, oh, great.
Yeah, because sure enough, she had some. Her injuries were worse than you realized. She bleeds out. And...
Well, this is also, I think, right after she says that, because I think she says it before a lot of it happens. But the green, maybe she says it after. I don't know. But it wasn't just the bomb. The Green Goblin hit her with his hover thing, hit her hard. I remember thinking in there too, because I being an EMT, I have seen pretty decent traumatic injuries, and sometimes I watch movies and that's one of those things where for me I have to suspend my belief for a lot of things, because people get hit in movies that are I've seen that in real life, and that person
shouldn't be alive.
Not necessarily shouldn't be alive, but should be in a lot more pain than they're in. Right. And I remember seeing that and being like, she got hit hard. Like if she is okay and walking, I was like, as a movie I'll believe it because it's a superhero movie, but like gotta suspend my belief a little bit. But then when after that she felt that, you know, kind of started to drop down and was like, saw the blood. I was like, okay, that makes more sense. They're actually they're doing it, and she, sure enough, she ends up passing, and I mean, gosh, man, you got to give it to what's the actor's name? What's Spider-Man's actor's name?
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland. You gotta give Tom Holland, man. That kid is an actor.
Yeah.
That kid can act, because man, I felt it in that scene of him, like the pain that he felt, and then like and this scenes like this are what I love, especially in superhero movies, and what is one of the big reasons why I like the Joker as a villain, and villains like that, is like you have this villain whose goal was to break the main hero. Mm-hmm. And you have that scene here of Peter, and it's done very well. And this is the scene that like just really gripped me. I was like, you can just tell that Peter is broken. You can tell that all this is happening. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that the Green Goblin is kind of getting what he wants in a sense.
Yeah.
And I just love that storytelling. I don't know. I like that that storytelling, and I think they did a really good job with it here.
They, this was like, I think this movie, and we're not done talking about it. There's a lot more to talk about, really, but I feel like, and the more I talk about it, the more I think this is maybe the best one out of the three, because it's the best Spider-Man movie. Mm-hmm. I'll say that, because it felt so much like Spider-Man, mm-hmm. like because you have Green Goblin, and then this scene sets up Green Goblin as his like arch nemesis now, mm-hmm. because he killed his aunt. Mm-hmm. It was his Uncle Ben moment, and sets him on that kind of a dark path for a good bit of the rest of the movie. He gets the archetypal line from Aunt May that Spider-Man always gets. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's just really like a very character movie for Spider-Man, and then to have all these other like things from other Spider-Man movie coming into this movie really made it feel like a very Spider-Man movie. But yeah, so he goes from here.
I mean, he's lost at this point.
He's
lost.
Completely lost. Doesn't know what to do yet. And in another part of the city,
which real quick too,
go ahead.
Going into this, I'll say the movie did a pretty decent job too of having a tragic moment and then doing something in a decent way of almost alleviating the tragedy, bringing in maybe a little bit of comedy or a little bit of.
The next scene.
Like the next scene, I think it was weird at first, but as it started happening, I was like, okay, this makes a little bit more sense.
It didn't take away because it was not taking place with Peter.
It was taking place elsewhere.
It was with his friends that were somewhere else and trying to find out where's Peter, because obviously something horrible just happened. We got to find out where he is.
Yeah.
So one of the characters is trying to find him by using like a little Doctor Strange portal thing. Yeah. And he realizes that which I can't remember if this was in the other Doctor Strange movies, like as a thing, but he realizes that if he says like, I want to see Peter,
help me find Peter
Parker, that when he starts to
open a portal,
it shows him Peter Parker. The only problem is, this is the moment.
This is the moment where everybody was waiting for.
This is the moment where our minds melted. This was the moment where I became, like a 12-year-old.
Yes.
It was Andrew Garfield.
It was It was Peter Parker, but it was Andrew Garfield.
So he like runs through. They're like, wait, you're not Peter.
Yeah, you can tell from his suit that it's like not the same Peter, and they're like, what? And he like takes off
the mask. And like, you're not. And then there's just a hilarious scene of just him trying to prove that he's Spider-Man, and
in quintessential Andrew Garfield way, because that Andrew Garfield Spider-Man just acts a certain way, and he did it. Yep. He just embodied it again so well.
Right. So then you get that scene, and then at the very same moment, it's like, okay, we gotta find Peter. So they try it again, and of course, Tobey Maguire is just standing there.
That one blew me away, because it's just like I could definitely see Andrew Garfield, because that movies were relatively recent.
Right.
But like to see the Tobey Maguire come in and old, like he's older now, not older, but he's like older than he was in those movies.
He's definitely older.
And it's just like, man, they actually got him back to come do this. And it was one of those things, remember, it's like we talked about, I was like, I don't know I'm sure they'll do it, but it might be a little cameo, or they'll just have him in for like a minute, maybe go do like a little speech to Peter if something happens.
Now, this is like midway through the movie.
But this is midway through the movie, and I'm telling you, they're in it for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. So they come, so Tobey Maguire comes in, and I for a minute was like, is he still Spider-Man? Because
I also thought, because he wasn't in a suit.
Did he settle down? What's going on? And as soon as he sees Andrew Garfield in a Spider-Man suit, they just both start like shooting webs at each other. It's amazing. And like you said about Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire is the Tobey Maguire Peter Parker.
Immediately back to the character.
Like they really embodied those characters in their unique quirks and everything so well, and it made it just feel, I don't know, it made it feel like just movies colliding. It was amazing. So they find out kind of that turns out, because they also know it's like this problem is getting worse of people that know the identity of Peter Parker, or our identity of Spider-Man as Peter Parker, getting pulled into this world is getting worse, and this is the symptom of it, is that now you have these other Peter Parkers coming in, and so they are talking to his friends, and they're kind of realizing, oh my goodness, he is at this really dark really dark character defining crossroad
they've all to an extent gone through. Yeah.
Man, they just, the emotion that they brought, the good baggage that they brought from their own character arcs, like really enriched the rest of the movie.
Yeah, really. I mean, just them. They eventually find, our Peter. I'll go with our Peter. Peter 1.
Oh, that was a whole funny joke.
Yeah.
Peter 3. Andrew Garfield's like annoyed that he's Peter 3.
And that's what I like about Spider-Man 2 is like, because that some people could be like, oh, they're joking in a serious moment. It's like, but that's Spider-Man. Right. Spider-Man jokes in serious moments. That's that's what I liked about Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man so much, was that he was so jokey in his movies.
Right.
But so yeah, they finally find Peter, and his friends come up and hug him, and he's just like, I don't know what to do. And he's like, I'm wrong. I just need to, give me that. I'm gonna kill him now, but not kill him, but send him home now. He's angry. And they're like, well, hold on. MJ's like, hold on, we have someone we want you to meet. And then comes jumping down our good friends Peter and Peter to come talk to Peter. Shout out Drew.
Shout out Drew.
And yeah, that scene of them talking, and Peter, once again, you see Peter 1 is just broken.
Yeah.
He's in the state, he's broken. He is like, I want them gone. I should never have done this. He wants
to kill Green Goblin
himself.
Mm-hmm.
And you just have each Peter coming from their own universe, which things happened differently.
Yeah.
And I think Andrew Garfield, we remember in his, Gwen Stacy dies.
He dies. He kills her accidentally trying to save her. So he has a very traumatic thing. His character says, which that's one of another amazing things about this is these characters coming to this movie, they come into the movie after the point you left them in the other movies. So it's almost like this movie continues their characters. Mm-hmm. So you find out, like he says that after Gwen died, at a certain point he stopped pulling his punches. So he's kind of realized that he's gone kind of down a darker path because of what happened with MJ. And when he sees Peter's MJ, it kind of like shakes him to realize, that like this is what I'm becoming because of what happened with Gwen. And then
for Andrew Garfield too, the emotion that comes from him in that scene, talking about, because he does talk a little bit about the Gwen thing.
Yeah.
And just like seeing that, and like every time he like sees this stuff with MJ and Peter, like you can just see like the tears come to his face, and that comes into play a little bit later on in the movie as well. And it's just like he did a good job too. His acting was very well in this movie too, and I really felt the emotion coming from him as far as that Gwen Stacy stuff went.
Yeah. So they really end up being like these really good mentor characters and a support system for Peter. In a very unique way, especially Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, because Norman Osborn is from his universe, and he, knows what he's gone through because of that Green Goblin and everything. And anyway, there's a funny moment because they're like, that's one of the other things. Like after this, they start working together to try to figure out, okay, we need to. I forget exactly why they decided to do it, but.
Because they all say, because Peter starts talking about how Aunt May died, and they say something, and they all kind of hit the thing. It was just like, oh, you had your Uncle Ben moment,
right? Oh,
because he starts saying it, and then they finish it, and he's like, where'd you hear that?
Right,
like, I heard that from my Uncle Ben right before he died.
And then Tobey Maguire says that he got the guy. He got what he wanted. He didn't kill the guy, but he got what he wanted. The guy died, and it didn't make anything better. And so I think that's kind of the moment where they convince him that we should still try and cure them. And
that whole scene of them in the lab in the school was so funny. They did the meme in live action, the three Spider-Man pointing at each other meme. Yeah. They did it. They pulled it off.
Was that whenever someone said Peter?
And then they were like, Peter? And then they like pointed at each other like, Peter?
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was funny too how his best friend Ned Leeds, he finds out that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, his best friend, became a supervillain and
tried to kill him,
and he died in Peter's arms. And so Ned Leeds is like he's really shaken up by that, and he like goes over to Peter and he's like, I promise that I won't become a supervillain and try to kill you.
And Peter's like, Peter wants like thanks.
It's just really funny.
And then you have which I also thought was great, the scene of them being, because they're, I think Ned or MJ was like, I brought you more cartridges for your web shooters. Yeah. And then Toby's like, huh? You guys have web shooters?
Right.
And then they're like,
they blows their minds that it's like, wait,
there's some funny,
your body makes that?
It's some funny jokes that come out of that one. Does it come out of anywhere?
Yes.
That was really fun too, because that was really like Marvel, because one of the things with like all the different iterations, we know in our real life that like all the iterations of Spider-Man came because Sony had to keep making Spider movies to keep their contract.
Right.
But it was really cool to be in universe and then basically be like, yeah, all these things are how they are. They're just different. There's just a different universe.
Yeah, right, exactly.
They all happen and they're all Spider-Man, but they're all different universe. So it's okay that they're different.
That's another thing that made this movie made like Tom Holland's Spider-Man feel more like another great, not that he didn't, but just another great version of Spider-Man, because it brought in, there's the fireworks.
Yep.
It brought in these other Spider-Mans, and it made them canon in
the MCU.
In the MCU. So then it's like all these things aren't just like them in world, like you said, they're not trying to just keep their contract. These are just parallel universes. These are other universes where there's, and it just made it
another
so
funny
much
way
more
of
crazy.
Another funny way of them doing that too was talking about the different villains that they fought. And Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man was like, yeah, I fought an alien who black goos and blah blah blah. And Peter goes, oh yeah, I fought aliens too in space. And Tobey Maguire's like, wait, what? In space? He's like, I'm hung up on space. And Andrew Garfield's like, you guys have fought aliens? Well, we fought like a guy with a rhino suit. And
and then Tobey Maguire's like, I'm still on you fighting a guy in space. Like that whole back and forth. They put their plan together and they're over at the Statue of Liberty and they're just bantering back and forth, and it was maybe the best scene in the whole movie.
Yeah. Just their banter all throughout.
At one point, Andrew Garfield like hugs them. They all hug. They kind of like hug, and Andrew Garfield's like, "I love you guys," and then they're all just like looking at him, just like, "Yeah, that's good." Like they're not good. Like he just
fine. I'm Spider-Man 3.
Like he just needed that a little bit more than they did. It's great.
But yeah, they get the plan together to they find all the cures that they think that will work, and they get this plan together to get them all to the Statue of Liberty and work together. And it goes poorly at first, but then they end up learning to work as a team. Which that initial, when they finally decide to they're like, we got to work as a team. We know each other. We know how. Yeah. And then that scene with them like zipping through.
Listen to your tingle.
Oh yeah, listen to your tingle. Speaking of it, did Steph tell you my joke I made?
No.
They said that I turned over. I leaned over. I said, yeah, that's how I married you.
Oh yeah, I think to my tingle.
But yeah, no, that scene was so fun of just like when they finally start working as a team and like they're like web slinging off each other.
Yes.
Like that was cool. That was just a cool scene. Yeah. Having 3 Spider-Mans just back to back, all in their original Spider-Man, what their suit looked like in their universe or in their movie, was cool.
Yep, and they got to have some like run-ins with like their villains in that scene, and it comes to the point where they get them all cured, and then the only one left is Green Goblin shows up, and the question earlier in the movie was like, I think Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man's like, we need to cure all of them, right? To Peter, because he knows that Peter wants revenge. And Peter gets over and starts fighting Green Goblin, and they're going toe to toe, and Peter's winning.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just brutally beating Green Goblin. And then he picks up, reminiscent to how Green Goblin actually dies in the original Spider-Man movie. He picks up his glider with the blades out, and he's gonna jam it down on him.
Oh, he does go to jam it down on him.
And Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, which is such a great callback to that first movie of he was the one who dodged out of the way and the glider flew into Green Goblin. This time, Tobey Maguire is the one standing between Green Goblin and the glider. You know, he's the one who saves him. And they gave another moment like that with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man,
which was a wonderful scene.
Instead of MJ's falling and Peter 1 is not there to save her, and he's there and he sees it, and he dives and he catches her and then uses his web to catch each other, and he has that moment of when he sets her down. You know,
you can see in his face.
You can see in his face. He wishes he had that to do over.
But at least he was able to do it with this,
So he gets that. So he gets that awesome character moment. Tobey Maguire gets this awesome. I mean, just chef's kiss on those on what they did in this movie. And another thing that this last scene with Green Goblin and Peter kind of highlights, and even in the whole kind of concept behind what they're doing with like the villains, where they're not just like trying to help somebody who's kind of a gray character like Bucky Barnes, who he was like brainwashed and it's not really him and he was being used in Captain America. Like, these are straight up villains.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're all villains, and it's a bunch of villains. And what Peter does in trying to save them, and you may not know he's doing it at the time, but at the end of the movie, he has to make a choice because this problem that's been growing, right? The people that know who Peter Parker is, the Peter Parker Spider-Man, are now coming through like nonstop, and like it's like the fabric of the universe is like splitting, and Doctor Strange gets out. Doctor Strange comes back, he gets out somehow, and he starts trying to hold everything together, but he can't because the spell is just out of control. And the only way they can think of to solve that is if nobody knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man at all.
Well,
or not the Peter Parker Spider-Man. If no one knows who Peter Parker is,
yeah, at
all, like that he exists, then those people will stop being pulled through by the spell. It'll like nullify the spell. And so it's like at the beginning of the movie, he's like, well, wait, there's some people I still want to know that I'm Spider-Man. And now it's come to this point where no one can even know I exist now. I have to make that choice. So he makes this huge sacrifice at the end. And he does it, yes, to save these villains from coming through, and he does it to save his friends, but he does it to save these villains.
Yeah.
And I just think it's just an amazing thing. It blows my mind when I see it in movies and stories. It's like, to me, I feel like when I see that kind of thing, that it is like there's something embedded deep in our world because of our creator, right? There's the stories that resonate with us are resemble or are similar to the story of God's plan for redemption. So just to go there, because I was thinking about it during the movie.
Yeah.
God's plan of redemption, the king, the hero, comes down to his enemies, and instead of trying to just be a conquering king and defeat his enemies, he sacrifices himself for his enemies. He turns his enemies to his friends, to his allies. He brings them in to become a part of his kingdom, and even greater than that, to be heirs with him. And this is this in a small way is reminiscent.
Very reminiscent, yeah.
That why is it, that this story resonates with us, that and even like I was skeptical at first, and I think everyone was, and I think that is, but by the end though, it's borne out in the story that whether or not you would want to do it or you would do it, it was obvious it was the right thing to do. Yeah. Because he could save them, and he did. But it cost him something great. It cost him
a lot. It cost him a lot. Everything, really.
Yeah. I mean, everything he hoped, everything he wanted, except for those people to be safe, he lost. So that's just just an amazing thing to see that kind of bleed through into a very secular story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anyone writing that movie was thinking about
probably not
Christianity or Jesus, but that is a story that I think resonates with people because God put it in us to have stories like that resonate, so that when we hear the story of redemption, it's like, oh, I really want that to be true. That God would come for his enemies.
It's very much ingrained in us, but to also just believe in good and evil. Mm-hmm. And redemption and sacrifice like that,
Right.
And I do think that's why those stories are usually so popular. I think that's why superheroes are so popular, because you have this embodied in most superheroes is this person, this character who has power, but instead of being evil like the villains, is willing to sacrifice everything to do what's right for the people that he sees as are his people. I think that's why superheroes do resonate with us so much, because they are a hero and they do sacrifice. Almost every superhero you see makes a sacrifice at one point or another. It's just ingrained in most superheroes, and we all eat it up and we love it, know. And I think that's why I think we're ingrained to. There was that sacrifice done, and ultimately, I think we all know that we do need that sacrifice. And so when we see it, even people who may not believe, when we see it, we love it. And like you said earlier, like we want that redemption to be true,
right?
And so we all watch these movies of redemption and of sacrifice from a hero, and are like, yes, I love this. I want to eat it up.
It's just so amazing that you think about it, this movie was really like about saving your enemies. Like it was about saving those who want to kill you, about turning them away from being an enemy, being a villain. And in the story of redemption, it's not just Jesus dying for good and bad people, or he's not trying to protect his friends and his enemies. He's those who are stained by sin are enemies of God. And so everyone he comes for is an enemy. Everyone he comes for is in active rebellion, and that's what he steps into anyway. So that we don't have to go much more into that, but
real quick to go a little bit further into it.
Go
Another thought that I just had too while thinking about this is just like, because now I'm thinking of parallels. Think too, this whole movie, almost everybody is against Peter.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, if that's not reminiscent and parallel of how Christ was treated on this earth, I don't know what is, to an extent, but like he was, everyone saw him as the villain. Even though he still, despite being seen as a villain, did the right thing and helped villains who were villains.
Yeah.
I don't know, just something I just thought of right now was like, it's just interesting. And even at the end, he's just like, for those who are watching, I'm sorry. And, I don't remember exactly what he said, but, he still is like, I'm doing this to help.
Right.
I'm doing what I can.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just an interesting little parallel I thought of the fact that, still being,
Yeah, no, definitely. Because, the people like you said, whenever the world was pretty much all against him, no one thought he was a hero. No one thought he was a good guy. They thought he's a murderer. And the thing he does that completely wipes his life away is for everyone. It's for the villains, but it's also for people who considered him their enemy, because they considered him a murderer of Mysterio. So it ends in a very I feel like it was a little bit reminiscent of Spider-Man 1. He ends by at the end of Spider-Man 1, he's just kind of he ends very like feeling alone. Like he's got this. He says it's his blessing, his choice, his curse, to be Spider-Man. That he has this great power. He can't this great responsibility. So, but he's very alone at the end of Spider-Man 1 and at the end of this movie because no one can remember who he is,
including his best friend and his girlfriend.
Yeah, he's very alone and. I don't know where they're going with it next. What?
Sidebar. It's also coming back to the real world and how movies work and making movies in the real world, it is a great way for Sony to be like, all right, Marvel, you had your time. He's no longer part of the Avengers. We want him back. Because he's wiped from the MCU's memory.
Oh, they could. They shouldn't.
They shouldn't.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't you dare.
But yeah.
All in all, it's just a great movie. Go give it a watch.
Yeah.
If you go watch it again, because if you've listened to this, I hope you've watched the movie, or you don't care about spoilers.
Right.
Because we've kind of went through a lot of them. Now, there's a whole lot more that we could say. We could have split this into 2, probably 3 parts, but we won't. we'll probably rehash again after we all do it. We do our marathon of Spider-Man, which will end up happening, I'm sure.
Yeah, that makes me. This movie maybe makes me want to go back through all of them. And it's gonna, in a way, it'll enrich all. I feel like it'll enrich all of them because it's almost like there's like a story within a story or something happening where.
Well, you can also still see it as canon,
right? Like you're watching it and you're not like, oh, this is before they redid it. This is like, no, this really happened.
Yes, this happened.
And then Doc Ock, after this credits roll, he gets pulled into Spider-Man No Way Home. So anyway, great movie. Very, I don't know what to say. Just very moving.
It's a good Spider-Man movie.
Yeah,
good Spider-Man movie. Definitely, I think you're right when you say it. It definitely felt like one of the more Spider-Man-y Spider-Man movies. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, it helps that you had all 3 Spider-Mans in the one movie, which helped making it feel more Spider-Man.
More Spider-Man, yeah, more Spider-Man makes it feel like.
Yeah, I mean, that's just gosh.
That's it. There it is.
I'm gonna watch it. We're gonna watch it again. I'm gonna watch it again. You should give it. Everybody go watch it again. But yeah, I mean, what do you think?
I don't really have anything else.
What do you say? It's
been a bridge of 2.
This has been a web of bridges.
Oh, web of bridges. That's probably what we'll call it.
Yes, I like it. This has been Bridge of 2. Hope you guys enjoyed our commentary of No Way Home.
Yeah.
Or Far From Home, or is it Homecoming, or Homewrecker? I can't remember. Time to go home.
Time to go home.
This has been Bridge of 2. A far, far away bridge.
See you next year. Remember when we first started? Like, was it the very first episode, or did we do it for a couple episodes where we would try and put Bridge of like things with Bridge of 2? Oh, we did it with the Lord of the Rings, like, didn't we?
Probably.
Fellowship of the Bridge.
Oh yeah, probably.
Return of the Bridge. Yeah.
Bridge of Webs.
Oh.
If you're recording a little sneak peek.
Bridger Man.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
This guy was bitten by a radioactive bridge.
Bitten by a radioactive bridge man.
So it's Bridge Man.
The newest superhero.
Was he bitten by a radioactive member of Bridge 4?
Yes.
And it was his Bridgman Man.
Bridgman Man. New movie coming to theaters near you. Bridgman Man.
The power to carry bridges.
And he's also super depressed.
In the palm of my hand. Yeah. The power of depression and carrying bridges.
The best power in the world.